This Liberty Sports Update is brought to you by Beacon Credit Union.
Yeah, overall, I thought we did some good things. I think the positives for us, one, we got to play some young guys and see, the Carl Poole stepped up, made some big plays for us. Some of the young D linemen, Kendi Charles, stepped in there, made some plays. Cade Robinson. So from a just depth standpoint, I think it's really good in a game like that to be able to get to play a lot of guys, see what some of those young guys can do. So I think there were some positives there. We were almost 50% on 3 and out, so that's solid. And then the areas we just got to get better in was third down defense, in particular, third and short, and in red zone. They were 2 for 2 in the red zone. So definitely some positives, but obviously some areas to improve, like always.
All right, very good. We'll take questions now. We're visiting with Flames defensive coordinator Scott Symons. Use the raise hand option, and we will get to you. We'll start with Damian Sordelet from the Lynchburg News in Advance.
Scott, when you look at this RPO attack that NC State has, when you study it, how much does it mimic what you guys run, and who are some guys that really stand out that you guys need to be aware of when you take the field?
Yeah, great question. I wouldn't consider him as much of an RPO offense as an offense that runs the ball and has a vertical passing game. Probably not as much true RPO on film as we've seen from our offense or even Virginia Tech. First it starts up front. Arguably, the best O-line as far as just a physicality standpoint, that I think we've seen on film, very comparable to Virginia Tech, if not better. Very physical up front. The backs, both their backs run really hard and are big backs. So, that's where it starts. Quarterback-wise, Hockman's playing really well. He's a young man that, his dad was the head coach at McEachern High School when we were in Carrollton, so familiar with him and seeing him. He's playing at a high level. By far the best passing quarterback that we've seen. Does a great job extending plays with his legs. And then they have just great length on the outside, 86 and 88. Two of the biggest wide receivers we've seen on the outside, and that's a matchup that I think will definitely be big in the game, for them and for us. But very balanced offense, ability to run it and throw it. No one's really stopped both yet when you look at them this season. They've thrown the ball for over 300 yards multiple times. So I think they're doing a great job. I think, you watch them on film and they're not a 5-3 football team. They're a 7-8 win looking team. I think they're by far the best football team that we've played this year. But I think our kids are, I think they're excited about the challenge, and we expect them to prepare as such and go out and put our best foot forward and just try to do what we can to stay in the game.
Coach, I'm going to drop in here, and then I'll get to Oliver after this. But I wanted to ask you, just looking at Hockman, you said he's got the ability to extend plays with his legs, but it did look like a little bit when they were able to get some pressure on him, that kind of changed his ability or his demeanor, or whatever you want to call it there a little bit. Is that going to be a key here for this Saturday?
Well, I think anytime you can affect the quarterback, it's not about sacks, it's about hits. So I think anytime you can get the quarterback off the spot and affect him in rhythm, when you're a good quarterback and you have a clean pocket, it's pretty easy to throw and catch and complete balls, and he's a really good quarterback. So the arm strength, the arm talent, the ability to make good decisions, the ability to stretch the ball vertically down the field. I think that's really what's changed with their offense. When you look like early against Virginia Tech, it was heavy run and heavy distribution to their tight ends and their running backs. They just really didn't attack you on the outside. I don't know what the change in thought process there was, or just more of a rhythm and getting comfortable with their guys. But their two outside guys are two of the better, I would say, in the ACC as far as just big size guys that attack the football. They don't wait on the ball to come to them. They go up and get it. So yeah, obviously a big point in the game is trying to be able to affect the quarterback. When you see this much drop back pass and just vertical throw game.
right, let's get to Oliver Hodgkinson here from the UK.
Coach, I thought Trayshawn Clark had a really good game on Saturday. What were some of the things that pleased you from a defensive standpoint on Saturday's game, and what are some of the things that you're going to look to work on this week heading into the NC State game?
Yeah, I think, well, first off, I don't know if I've ever had as hard of a game to really prepare for as that. You've played 7 games and you have no game film on them. You know, with it's not like we had the same starting quarterback coming back. It was, you know, we were told, you know, and they even said it, hey, we're going to play multiple quarterbacks, so you're trying to figure out, okay, is this guy going to be this, you know, FIU, for example, we saw 3 different quarterbacks, was, you know, vastly 3 different offensive thought processes, and we just had to adjust in the game. So, you know, the one thing I'll say, you know, credit to our kids, although the first touchdown drive, there were some really poor execution plays that I was not happy with, but we really didn't prepare for anything we saw. So, you know, I mean, we basically got in the second half. I mean, you can call it what you want, as glorified wing T, you know, and we just hadn't worked any of that. So it was in-game adjustments. It was coaches being able to make the adjustments. It was our kids being able to, you know, make those in-game adjustments, and I think that shows the maturity of a football team. And so I think there were some good learning lessons, but, you know, definitely when you've played 7 games, they have 7 games on you, and you have, you know, no games on them. There's a lot of unknown going into that. So, you know, overall, I was just happy that we got out injury-free, number one. You know, in games like that, those are tough games on you as a coach because, you know, I mean, my expectation was to shut them out and hold them to 150 yards of offense, and, you know, they got a little over 250 and scored twice. So you never, you know, you walk off the field and you're like, yeah, we should have done better, and we definitely, I wish we had played better at times, but also the positives, getting to play young guys, getting to get out of there healthy, and then, you know, getting to be fresh going into this week, you know, against, you know, arguably the best team we've played.
Let's go to, thanks, Oliver. Let's go to Damian Sordelett from the Lunch Break News in advance.
Hey, Scott, first, how did Anthony Butler look out there today after it looked like he got a little nicked up celebrating Carl Poole's interception there in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, he's fine. He's good to go. Yeah, he's got to stay off the field. So, but he was fired up because I joked around with him today about it because that was an RPO, and Carl made a great play on it. And, you know, Carl has a tendency to be kind of a see ball, get ball guy. So that was an awesome play by him, and I know our guys were fired up. And, you know, 2 really big plays by him, and that was huge. You know, I told him after the game, I mean, my confidence, just like, you know, the young guys can gain confidence through their playing time. It's the flip side. It's for as a coaching staff. You know, I've seen him. You know, he obviously didn't get a play against Virginia Tech, but the more and more reps he's gotten, the better I think he's played, and more consistently he's played, and that's really the key for him. And so, you know, I think this was a really big game for him just from an overall production standpoint to come out and you know, really he had limited snaps because I don't even know if I put him in the first half. I think all his snaps were in the second half. He only played like 17 snaps and had, you know, a couple tackles, a pick, and a you know, forced fumble there. So that was a huge stat line for a small sample size. So I think that's big for his confidence going forward as well as my confidence in him.
My second question is, you have a guy who was in your room last year, Tim Kid-Glass, who's finally getting back out on the field. And what have you seen from him these last 2 weeks of how he's looked and his limited action? And, you know, is he going to be a guy that you guys can turn to these last 3 weeks to get some more playing time and give Scruggs a spell when he needs it?
Yeah, I think Tim just needs reps, and I think, you know, each week you can kind of see that maturation process. I mean, this is a guy that hasn't played in, you know, I mean, a long time, a couple of years essentially, right? So, you know, I think just with reps and confidence in the defense, those things continue to come. And he's a guy that, from a mental standpoint, mental acumen standpoint, and ability to pick up on things, he does a pretty good job. So I feel comfortable in him being back there and getting us lined up. And, yeah, I think practice, you know, I mean, Tuesday's practice to Wednesday's practice to Thursday's practice just builds confidence in us as we go throughout each week on a guy like him that's still, you know, kind of not even full stride yet as far as, you having that game time. And obviously, Scruggs has played a lot of snaps for us, so anytime we can get him off the field and have a good player to play in there, and I feel confident in both of those guys.
And Scott, I got one more. So you've had a chance to play 2 ACC schools this year in Syracuse, Virginia Tech. How much does that help in preparation for NC State that you have faced the the defensive line physicality, the speed of their wide receivers, the poise and accuracy of a quarterback who can run and throw, and to give them a mindset that they can be confident going into this game?
Well, I think the confidence is probably the big deal. Our kids expect to compete and expect to be able to win, and so I think that's I think the Syracuse game really did that moving forward. And as you guys know, we might have a better player at a position than they do, or vice versa. It's they put their pants on the same way we do. So I think sometimes we can make that out to be a bigger deal than it is. And they've got some good players. We've got some good players. Our guys will have to play well. I think they'll be ready to rise to the occasion and put a good showing on the field. But I think just overall we're a confident football team, and I think. More importantly than that, I think we're a team, and we got to understand, we have to play complementary football, both, offensively, defensively, special teams. I think our kids are bought into that, and it's not one guy. We got to have 11 guys collectively doing their job at a high level, and that's how you win games, And so I think our kids understand that, and they know what the expectation is going to be like this week, and I expect them to come out and practice and have that focus to make sure we're ready to roll.
All right, let's get back to Oliver.
Coach, both you and Coach Freeze referenced the wide receivers that NC State have got. How do you begin to game plan to contain those guys for Saturday night?
Well, first off, it starts with the one-on-one matchup. You got to, our guys are going to have to rise to the occasion. Football is when you play these tempo offenses that spread you out at times. It's basketball on grass, right? That's what it is. There's going to be one-on-one matchups throughout the course of this game, whether it's our linebackers tackling their running backs or our D-line getting wins. So, our corners are gonna rise up. I expect them to play really well. I've got a lot of confidence in our corner room. I think Haskins is getting back to full go and healthy, and I think that'll be huge. I think Chris is playing with a ton of confidence right now. He wasn't targeted, I think, maybe one time in the game last week. And, Jimmy Fox is a guy that gives us some length that came in and has done some good things. So I think first off, it's just, stepping up individually in each position group. And then you got to look at, just those matchups throughout the course of the game. And, are there different ways, different calls that we have within our system to help a guy here or help a guy there. But this game is pretty simple. Whether you're a 3-man front, 4-man front, 4-3, 4-2, whatever the situation is, there's going to be one-on-one matchups, as you guys know, that the team that can win those more consistently and take care of the football and create turnovers is usually going to win the game.
Thanks, Coach.
Good. Let's talk about the matchups, and I want to go to Darrell Johnson here for a moment because there's been a few times this year where he gets out there on that edge, and the quarterbacks kind of try to bait him in or make the throw over top of him. But it looks like he might have made an adjustment in that situation there. We had the interception here this week. Is that something that particular instance where he's trying to get better at and just make that adjustment, playing defensive end really for the first time in his life?
Well, we were actually in a pressure, so he had the back man. So he made a heck of a play. He was beat a little bit, but that's a long body to have to throw over. So that's the pro and con. When you drop a D end out in coverage, their running back might be more athletic, but the pro being, you got to throw it through a 6'4", 6'5" frame. So, he made a heck of a play and, was pointing out his blockers as he was taking that across the field. So, but no, I was fired up for him to see him make that play. And, I think Darrell's just gotten better at things as the season's went on, and it's a young guy, was a junior college guy that's played 8 games now, so I think he's becoming more seasoned in our system. And it's not about, with Darrell, it's not about it's not about the positive plays that he's going to make. You know he's going to have some production. You expect that. That's the expectation. That's what he expects out of himself. It's making sure that we clean up the busts and the negative plays, and so focusing on the details. And I think those are the areas where really over the last couple of weeks he's improved just from a fundamental standpoint in doing his job more consistently. You're not going to make every play. We talk to the guys about make the plays that come to you, and letting the game come to you. Don't force plays that aren't your plays to be made, and be a game manager. And so I think understanding that, and embracing his role within the call, has been a positive to see for him, throughout the season. And there were some things, like the first touchdown drive, that was, technically his man that caught the ball. And so, but we hadn't been in that situation. He came out of coverage. We lost contain. If we had contained the quarterback, we'd have had a sack with Aaron. But our D tackle lost contain, and then we come out of coverage. And so, but that's a learning lesson. That's as much on us as coaches as it is on him, because we hadn't put him in that situation as well.
So then that was more probably Austin losing contain there on the quarterback than Darrell on that first play then, just to kind of clarify?
Well, it was a combination. So Austin had to contain. Aaron still should have. Aaron had an opportunity, if he bends the corner tight to possibly get there. Darrell needs to stay in coverage till the guy crosses the line of scrimmage. The corner should have fallen off. So it was like a domino effect of this guy didn't do this, then this happened, then this happened. And so it looked like, it's about to be a sack, and then what happened? We cut a guy loose, and it was a touchdown. So very rarely is there one guy at fault on a play. So.